Ethiopia's National Defense Force. The government regrets the hasty, substandard and agenda-driven pathway the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia chose to discharge its responsibility. It added that reports were manifestly political statement issued under the guise of an investigation report. The government defended itself, saying it had brought perpetrators of human rights violations to justice. Both federal government and the rebel Tigray forces have accused each other of human rights violations underway in northern regions of Tigray regions. And in Senegal, their president Macky Sall has called for the lifting of sanctions against Zimbabwe in his address to the 77th UN General Assembly in New York. The Senegalese leader and the current chairman of the African Union said the measures against Zimbabwe were aggravating the suffering of the people. The US and the European Union maintain sanctions on Zimbabwe, citing a lack of progress in democratic and human rights reforms, as well as restrictions on press freedoms. The sanctions target both specific individuals and companies, including President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Zimbabwe's economy has faced deep economic crisis over the past few years, with periods of hyperinflation, but there is little evidence to suggest that the sanctions are responsible. President Sall was the first African leader to address the General Assembly. And elsewhere in the world, in a rare nation address, President Putin now has announced a partial mobilization of reservists for his special military operation in Ukraine. He said this was a necessary step to ensure territorial integrity and protect people in Russian-occupied territories of Ukraine. He accused the West of engaging in nuclear blackmail against Russia. Putin said Russia has lots of weapons to reply and that he was not bluffing. Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said 300,000 with combat experience will now be called up to fight. European leaders are now reacting to Vladimir Putin announcing reservists will be called up to fight in Ukraine. Czech Republic Prime Minister Petra Fiala says the partial mobilization is an attempt to further escalate the war launched against Ukraine and further proof that Russia is the sole aggressor. Mr. Fiala said it was essential to continue providing aid to Ukraine and was in Czech interests to carry on doing so. And in Japan, a man has set himself alight reportedly to protest a state funeral for ex-Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who was assassinated in July. Hundreds of foreign dignitaries are expected to attend the funeral on the 27th of September. Today, witnesses called police after spotting a man on fire near the Prime Minister's office in Tokyo. Officers put out the blaze and took the still conscious man to hospital, according to local media. The extent of his injuries and his current condition is unknown. Japanese media reports say the man is believed to be in his 70s. Elsewhere, Hurricane Fiona leaves towns in Puerto Rico flooded just 5 years after Hurricane Maria. This comes as one of the worst hurricanes that have hit Puerto Rico in many years. And moving on, crowds cheered in Iran. Crowds cheered when women burned hijabs on a bonfire in Sari yesterday as the unrest continued for a fifth night and spread to more cities. Women have been at the forefront of escalating protests in Iran, sparked by the death in custody of a woman detained for breaking hijab laws. Activists said 2 male protesters were shot dead by security forces in Urmia and Piranshar in the northwest. A police assistant was also reportedly killed in Shiraz in the south. At least 6 people are now believed to have been killed since protests against the hijab laws and the morality police erupted after the death of Mahsa Amini. And in the United States, U.S. prosecutors have charged 47 people in the largest COVID relief fraud scheme alleged to date. The suspects are accused of stealing $250 million from a government aid program that was supposed to feed children in need during the pandemic. They allegedly spent the spoils on properties, cars, and luxury goods. A Minnesota non-profit organization, Feeding Our Future, is accused of orchestrating the plot Founder Amy Bok denies any wrongdoing. He said the indictment was merely the beginning of the criminal process and represented a mere allegation. FBI Director Christopher Wray said the egregious plot was the largest of its kind uncovered so far. The suspects are alleged to have issued bills for meals they did not serve to children who did not exist, according to the Department of Justice in a statement. And finally, U.S. President Joe Biden will urge Prime Minister Liz Truss to work with the European Union to resolve tensions around post-Brexit trading arrangements in Northern Ireland, according to the White House. They will hold their first bilateral meeting today after Ms. Truss traveled to New York for a UN summit. Tensions between the two leaders have emerged over controversial UK plans to override the Northern Ireland Protocol. Ms. Truss has said she will not allow problems with the deal to drift. Speaking to reporters in New York, she said the UK must fix issues preventing the formation of a new government in Northern Ireland and ensure free-flowing trade east to west as well as north to south. Both Mr. Biden and Ms. Truss have said a negotiated resolution to the row over the protocol, which was signed when Boris Johnson was Prime Minister, between London and Brussels is preferable. Well, that brings us to the end of this afternoon's news in brief. Thank you so much for watching. I remind you of the Karamoja cry. We are sending relief to Karamoja, food relief. We have so far sent a lot of tons, over 70,000 metric tons of food to the people of Karamoja, but the need is still great. We are sending more food, but we are offering also a permanent solution to the hunger in Karamoja by plowing their land, by planting in their land, and by producing in their land in a project dubbed Plow, Plant and Produce. As the Robert Kayanja Ministries, a lot has already been done to ensure that project is going on, and thanks to the Robert Kayanja Ministry partners. However, we need your support once again, as we deliver food relief. You can send your contribution to the numbers that will be available during the different services, or you can bring your seed to the Miracle Center Cathedral, give it to the pastor himself. He will pray a blessing for you and you will be tremendously blessed. You can bring also stuff in kind that include clothes, include beddings, include things that will help them come out of the situation that has seemingly taken over their lives. Otherwise, the Marriage Now program is coming on with Pastor Jessica Kayanja. Do not miss as she ministers on the glory of God and how we all need the glory of God. Have a lovely afternoon. God bless you. I remain Mercy Gashegu Sembatia. Goodbye.